You are digging your own marriage's grave and calling it a quest for stability. Wake up. The money you beg God for every single day isn't your salvation. It is the poison that will exterminate the little love left in this house. You are acting like spoiled children, believing in the greatest farce in history, that numbers in a bank account can cure a sick relationship. It is hypocrisy of the highest order. If I gave you the fortune you desire right now, it would be like handing a loaded machine gun to a monkey. Money only amplifies who you already are. If today you are distant and bitter, with money you will be distant, bitter, and divorced much faster. Society has brainwashed you, and there you are, smiling and running straight into the abyss, thinking that success will fill the emotional black hole you have created. Stop fooling yourselves. You are on the verge of an irreversible collapse, and it's not the economy's fault, it's your blindness. I am going to rip that blindfold off right now. What I am about to expose in this video is the difference between saving your family from total ruin or continuing to be just another divorce statistic. If you don't have the stomach to hear the naked truth that no one has the guts to tell you, close this video and keep living the lie. But if you want to stop bleeding, stay quiet and pay close attention. It is curious to observe how so many couples fall into the subtle trap of thinking that the bank account is the only thermometer for happiness. You have probably caught yourselves thinking, if we just had that raise, our emotional prosperity would be guaranteed and the fights would end. It is like chasing the wind, because this mindset creates an invisible abyss in the living room. We see this happen all the time, the feeling that peace is always one paycheck away, but the hard truth is that money without direction is just colored paper that doesn't fill the void. Just imagine the scene, you two sitting at the kitchen table surrounded by papers, saying, "Oh, if we overcome this obstacle and pay off this debt, then we will be satisfied." But between us, isn't the hole a bit deeper than that? The lack of a clear alignment of values makes money the scapegoat for problems that are actually about coexistence. You need the guts to admit that often we are using a lack of resources as an excuse to avoid facing a lack of intimacy and complicity. Think, for example, of a couple that decides to stop obsessing over what is missing in their pockets and starts investing in real connection. Instead of wasting energy complaining about their salary, they decide to have a simple dinner at home by candlelight, eye to eye, far from cell phone screens. True wealth begins there, in that genuine exchange that no credit card can buy. When you realize that security comes from who is holding your hand and not from the bank balance, the game changes completely in your favor. And make no mistake, my friends, building a shared purpose requires much more than just paying bills on time or accumulating assets. It is about sitting down and drawing a map of life where the treasure isn't the final balance, but the quality of the shared journey. You can start today, listing not what you want to buy on the next Black Friday, but what you want to feel with each other 10 years from now. This shift in perspective takes a huge weight off your shoulders and places the focus on what is eternal. After all, without a solid spiritual foundation sustaining the house, any financial gain turns into smoke in the blink of an eye or is consumed by unforeseen events. Have you noticed that even when you manage to buy that new car or do the dream renovation, the euphoria passes quickly and soon a new urgent need arises? Well, this chronic dissatisfaction is no mere accident. There is a psychological and spiritual mechanism behind it that explains exactly why you feel like you're running in circles. If you talk to that couple who swore everything would change after buying their own home, you'll notice something intriguing 2 years later. They will likely still be struggling to overcome a new financial obstacle, perhaps remodeling the kitchen or changing the car. It's a vicious cycle where emotional prosperity is always pushed to the future, like a carrot tied in front of a donkey. The human mind adapts too quickly to comfort, transforming what was a luxury yesterday into a basic necessity today, ensuring that full satisfaction never arrives.
You need to understand that this crazy race happens because the focus is on the object, not on the shared purpose. It's like trying to fill a leaking bucket with water. No matter how much you earn, if the mindset doesn't change, the money drains down the sink of new demands. Imagine you get that salary increase today. The joy lasts 3 months, but soon expenses rise proportionally to match the new standard of living. Without realizing it, you return to square one of anxiety, only with more expensive bills. To break this pattern, it is fundamental to exercise a brutally honest alignment of values. Instead of asking, "What else can we buy?" try questioning, "Why is what we already have not enough?" A practical and powerful exercise is to visit a place that marked the beginning of your dating days, when you had much less money but perhaps smiled much more. Remember how happy you were with little. This proves that joy is not on the price tag, but in the way you faced life together. This ceaseless search for something more often serves only to mask the lack of real connection in daily life. It's easier to desire a new sofa than to fix the old, worn-out communication between you. Consumerism becomes a temporary painkiller for pains that are emotional and relational. But don't be fooled. Material goods do not have the power to hug your soul or listen to your venting at the end of a tiring day. The satisfaction you are looking for is not on a store shelf. Therefore, if money is not the villain, but also not the savior, where is the secret to getting out of this hamster wheel? The answer requires us to look up and within, seeking a spiritual foundation that sustains the relationship even in lean times. There is a different, intangible wealth, composed of elements that the financial market ignores, but which are the true currency for a bulletproof and happy marriage.
The real turning point happens when you realize that the account that needs to close in the black is the soul's, not the bank's. Genuine satisfaction lives at addresses the GPS of materialism cannot find, in justice, in faith, and in meekness. When you decide to live with God, you are essentially building a spiritual foundation that no economic crisis can shake. It is like exchanging a house of sand for a fortress of rock. The wind blows, the rain falls, but what you have inside remains intact and firm. Think about the ancient advice the Apostle Paul gave to young Timothy: focus on what is eternal and invisible. Bringing this down to your living room floor, it means that in a heated argument, meekness is worth much more than having the final say. Choosing to lower your voice instead of shouting is a high-yield investment in the couple's real connection. Try the next time your blood boils to take a deep breath and remember that your greatest asset is peace, not winning the argument at any cost. This radical change in posture requires a very sharp alignment of values between the two of you. You need to agree, eye to eye, that the family's success will not be measured by the car in the garage, but by the amount of forgiveness and perseverance circulating in the hallways of the house. It is a daily decision to prioritize devotion and loyal love above immediate comfort. When both play on this team, competition ends and gives way to an indestructible partnership where one covers the other's back against the pressures of the world. And look, living this justice and faith isn't some unreachable mystical thing. It is real life. It is being fair in dividing household chores. It is having faith in the other's potential when they are discouraged. This is nurturing a shared purpose that transcends the boring routine of just surviving and paying bills. By cultivating integrity and kindness, you are depositing gold coins into an emotional safe that yields compound interest and happiness over the long term. It is a wealth that, curiously, the more we spend on our partner, the more it multiplies. Now, you must be feeling that this brings absurd emotional prosperity, and it really does. But talking about abstract virtues is very pretty on paper. The real challenge is applying this on Monday morning when the shoe pinches and we see the other's flaws in high definition. It is precisely here that the need to get your hands dirty comes in. There is a practical and specific art to dealing with human flaws and one's own self-image, which separates mature couples from immature ones. Doing what is right day after day is the trial by fire for any couple who claims to have a shared purpose.
It is no use having beautiful speeches if on Tuesday night you treat each other with coldness and indifference. Wisdom lies in choosing to swallow that snappy comeback and opting for kindness, even when work fatigue wants to dominate your mood. It is this silent and constant integrity that solidifies mutual trust, much more than grand, empty promises made on special dates. To keep the real connection pulsing, you need to get off autopilot and express love intentionally and creatively. How about leaving a note hidden in his or her wallet before leaving, or sending a message in the middle of the day just to say, "I'm thinking of you"? Or better yet, take on that boring chore the other hates, like taking out the trash or washing the dinner dishes, without expecting applause. It is these small acts of service that scream, "I care about you," louder than any expensive gift. Furthermore, being patient with someone else's imperfection is the master secret of emotional prosperity at home. No one is a robot programmed for perfection. He will leave the towel on the bed, she will be a few minutes late. Instead of turning these slip-ups into World War III, choose to laugh at the stumbles. Understanding that your spouse is a work in progress, just like you, creates an atmosphere of grace where it is safe to make mistakes and learn without the constant fear of judgment. And here enters a crucial point that few have the courage to face: having a healthy self-assessment to guarantee the alignment of values. Before pointing a finger at the other's mistake, run to the mirror. Ask yourself honestly, where can I improve to be an easier person to live with? This humble posture disarms any conflict and invites the partner to lower their guard as well. When one changes for the better, the entire relationship system is forced to readjust positively. These practical attitudes bring indescribable peace, but I know a cruel doubt might still be hammering in the back of your minds. This is all beautiful, but what about food on the table? What about the rent due? It's natural and human to fear scarcity. After all, bills aren't paid with hugs and good intentions. However, there is a universal law, guaranteed by an unshakable spiritual foundation, that completely flips human logic on how material needs are in fact met. But I need food, clothing, and shelter. This phrase echoes in the minds of 99% of couples, and it's a legitimate concern. No one lives on air, and God knows that better than anyone. However, the fatal error is putting the cart before the horse, thinking that material security is the cause of happiness, when in reality, it is the consequence of a well-positioned spiritual foundation. You need the courage to trust that there is a Father taking care of the details while you take care of the essentials. Jesus was surgical when handing over the master key. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Notice the non-negotiable order: first the kingdom, then the things. When the couple's alignment of values prioritizes divine will above greed, magic happens in life management. You stop wasting vital energy on corrosive anxiety and start investing wisdom in decisions, attracting necessary provisions almost naturally. Understand once and for all that material provision is actually a byproduct of a correct life. It's like a shadow. If you run after it, it flees. If you walk towards the light, the shared purpose focused on God, the shadow follows you effortlessly. It is not about sitting on the couch waiting for money to fall from the sky, but about working with the absolute certainty that your effort, when ethical and blessed, will never return empty. Try replacing nightly worry with marital prayer and serene planning. Instead of losing sleep calculating imaginary interest, use that time to strengthen the emotional prosperity between you, remembering all the times help arrived at the right moment. Practical faith eliminates despair and opens doors that fear kept locked. The account of life only truly balances when the soul rests in the security of the true provider. In the end, when you focus all your attention on the Lord and the quality of the marital relationship, satisfaction stops being a distant dream and becomes a daily routine. The real connection with the Creator and with the spouse fills the empty spaces that money could never reach. And it is precisely when you stop chasing the wind and start valuing what you already have that life surprises you with an abundance that goes beyond numbers.
My friends, what a journey we've been on today, right?
Did you notice how taking the weight of money off your shoulders brings an immediate lightness to the relationship? I truly believe you now have everything you need to flip this switch. Don't let this knowledge stay just in your head. Your love deserves to be lived in practice, in the simple details of a common Tuesday. The real treasure is already there, right next to you on the couch. I would love to know how this message touched your hearts. Tell me here in the comments, what is the first small attitude, that very simple one that costs nothing, that you are going to do today to bring a smile to your love? Let's create a chain of good ideas down here to inspire other couples. And look, now that you understand that money isn't the basis of everything, a beautiful new step arises in this walk. Often, our hearts are full of good intentions, wanting to get it right. But when it comes to transforming this feeling into concrete gestures, we end up fumbling unintentionally. There is a special way to materialize this affection so that the other person feels truly loved. And I speak exactly about this, with great care, in this video appearing on the screen now. It is the perfect complement to what we learned today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so we can keep growing together. Click on the video next to me and I'll meet you there. Big hug.